Good morning, good morning, good morning. Tuesday, April 6, 2021. Hope it's off to a great start. This is Morning Joey. I'm your host, Joey Molinaro. Thanks for waking up with me. Got a big show today. We got the great brunch debate with two brunch experts. Feitelberg is the moderator, but Kayce Smith, she DM'd me, said, no, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong about your take, even though it's a fact about brunch versus lunch. So I said, all right, come on the show and debate me. So that's exactly what she did, and I had Feitelberg moderate it, even though they're in cahoots together. So really, really fun debate there that's coming up here later on in the hour. But I hope that everything is going well for you on this Tuesday. I hope that you got some good sleep and didn't waste your time with the national championship last night, at least for the second half, because that game absolutely stunk. Was bad, blowout, absolute snooze fest. Yeah, so we'll get into all that. But for those watching on YouTube, remember to subscribe as always, here every day live at 9. Videos live on afterwards on this channel. So subscribe, like the videos. Thanks for those watching on Twitter as well. I don't know how we're still doing it on Twitter because apparently Periscope is supposed to go away, but we're still here every single day. So they're not kicking Morning Joey off of Periscope and Twitter just yet. But again, please subscribe to the channel. We're continuing to grow. Watch time going up. Views going up. Subscribers continuing to go up. We need them to go up more. Thank you. Check this out. This is what I was talking about. Got mine in. One last ride. Juju Big Ben. The shirt is fire. I hate the phrase fire, but it is absolute heat. It's a comfy shirt. It's a good-looking shirt. Look at this design, dude. That is Big Ben and Juju right there. Incredible. They're in a Corvette, a throwback Corvette, if you will. And then on the tires, they have the hypocloid, I could never say it, the stars. You know what I'm talking about from the logo. So you got to get it. The link to get it is below every day. The link to that, this shirt, Cup of Joey mug, Cup of Joey dad hat, plus the Indian Sanity merch. We just wrapped up the tournament. We made history. All right. It's going to be pulled off the site soon. So if you want to be a part of history, go get the Indian Sanity merch. You got crew necks, you got hoodies, you got T-shirts. You got Hoops Heaven shirts. Be a part of it, man. Indy just pulled off something that was historic, was incredible. Nobody does it better than us. Get your shirt to commemorate it. Indy Insanity. All those links are below for those who are watching on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, you're watching on Twitter, you can go click the link and it'll take you right there. I'll lay it out for all you guys. All right, I lay it out for all you guys. It's easy. It's simple. Go get it. The shirt is just heat, straight heat, and I'm so glad I finally got mine in. Anyways, though, we got to start talking about the national championship, the snooze fest that it was last night between Baylor and Gonzaga. I think I took Happy out one last time before I settled in to watch the game, and I get back. He's struggling to get up on the couch right now. There we go, big boy. I took him out one last time before the game, and then I had to come back in. And you know how when you have a Roku TV and you're streaming, you always have to log in when you haven't used an app in a while. So I had to figure out how the fuck to get my app going on my Roku TV to get the game on. So by the time that I got the game on, it was 2.5, 3 minutes in, and I turn it on, and the score is 9-0, and I was blown away. I was like, oh shit! Even from turning it on 2.5, 3 minutes in, you could just tell that Gonzaga was just totally lost and overwhelmed. It's like when somebody wakes you up and you're just kind of out of it, but you have to figure out what's going on, if you ever had a coach at camp or something where somebody, or even your parent, on a Saturday morning you ever had that happen, they come in and it's 6 a.m. or whatever. And they're like, up, let's go. And then you're just kind of distraught, but you're trying to figure it out. Yeah, you can't breathe and you're looking around. You know what the hell's going on. That's what Gonzaga looked like when I turned on the game. They're down 9-0, and it was never even close. That was the closest that it got. It was 9-0. So just an absolute snooze fest. And 2 minutes in, you're all this anticipation, all this build up. We talked about it yesterday. Rothstein, and this is, it was probably the correct take going in, but Rothstein saying this is the most anticipated title game since 2005. And 2 minutes in, it was done. The anticipation was over. And I hate how that happens. It happens so often when it comes to big games, not only in basketball, anything. Very rarely do these kind of games live up to what we want them to be. Very rarely. And we remember those forever, rightfully so, because the rest of them are usually kind of shit shows that you're like, I mean, the lead up to it was more exciting and interesting than what actually happened on the court or on the field. I'm going to put my cowherd hat on here. I'm not going to do the impression, but channeling the analogies, these big games that we look forward to are like when you're in college or you're in high school, or even now when you're an adult and you have this date, this party that everyone's talking about. If it's a birthday party or, hey, 3 weeks from now, we're all getting the gang back together and we're going out and they're going to have a day and it's going to be awesome. Every time that something like that comes up, majority of the time, you get to that point and it never lives up to what you want it to be. It's not as fun. You can't get in places. Somebody has a girlfriend that's crying. Some guy's crying. Some girl's puking. Like, you got to worry about different things. Like, it's just everything that you built it up to be in your group text the whole week, it doesn't end up being that way. You're like, that was good to get everybody together and everything, but, I was kind of ready to leave. And that's what these big games are like. You have your exceptions with those, like weddings usually live up to the hype, or maybe like a 30th birthday lives up to the hype, or like a bachelor party. All right. Those are the exceptions. Those are the Texas versus USC, the Gonzaga UCLA Final Four game that happened on Saturday. Those are those kind of games. Most of the time, it's like somebody planned the pickle bar or handlebar thing, and you're tired and it's too hot and you're sweating and your girl's mad at you, and somebody's fighting amongst the group, and then you can't get into the bar afterwards. And you're like, man, I was so excited for this, and it just kind of got all blown to hell. But the best ones come when you're least expecting it. When it's just like, what are we doing tonight? I don't really know. Why don't we hit up Reese? Why don't we hit up Colin? Let me see what's going on. Let's see what they're doing. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, it's like 1:30 a.m. and you're having the time of your life. And you're like, man, I thought I was going to be in tonight. I didn't think this was going to happen at all. It's like when all of a sudden just a game breaks out. I thought that the Gonzaga UCLA game was going to be toasty. Why did I say it like that? UCLA. UCLA. The Gonzaga UCLA game, I thought that was going to be total shit. I told my buddies beforehand, I was like, oh man, like if Baylor and Houston wasn't that much of a blowout, Gonzaga's got to beat them by 25 points. Didn't expect it. Turns out to be one of the best games ever. Just like on Friday night. I don't really know. I think I might just take it easy. Really? We're going to go out. All right, let's see what's going on. Out until 4 a.m. Best night of your life. So it got me thinking about the worst big games in my lifetime that I remember being like, oh man, you got the pregame shows that are going crazy, and you got like last night, you got the John Hams doing the intro, and you got the build up, and like it's the Blue Bloods, or it's just everybody is looking forward to it. It's all anybody could talk about, and then it's just an absolute dud. And the first one that came to mind was Florida Ohio State, 2007 BCS title. Ohio State the favorite. SEC versus Big Ten. Obviously 1 versus 2. I remember that being like one of the first games in my life to where that this happened to me, where I couldn't wait for it. I was in like 6th or 7th grade, and I was like, man, this is gonna, Troy Smith and Ted Ginn and Percy Harvin and Chris Leak and Dallas Baker, like this is gonna be the Urban Meyer versus was it Tressel then still? I think so. Urban Meyer versus Jim Tressel. Like, this is going to be incredible. And then Ted Ginn takes the opening kickoff back. Oh, my God, let's go. And then Florida just completely blew the doors off them. I was like, oh, okay. That's the first, big game hangover. LSU Bama 2011 BCS championship in New Orleans. The first game that they played earlier that year, that was built up as the game of the century as well. In Alabama, LSU had Eric Reed and Honey Badger, and I think the final score was 9-6. Alabama had more kicking issues. Game of the century, it was boring as hell. And LSU won, but then Bama got back into the BCS title game, and then you have in New Orleans the championship, and you're building it up again. The rivals meeting again. Here we go, part 2. Let's go. And that was put me to sleep. I was asleep in the third quarter of that game because there was no points, there was no action, just completely classic Bama Saban. SEC ball, just bowling people, defense out the ass. Nobody could score. Snooze fest. Said pretty much any Notre Dame bowl game, for a while, again, my middle school, high school days, especially in like the BCS games when they played LSU and the Sugar Bowl, 41-14. Really, in any big Notre Dame, when they played USC in 2006 or 2007, at USC, got their doors blown off. Alabama, Notre Dame in the national championship, doors blown off. Yeah, God, I didn't even think about that one. That BCS championship game, Alabama, Notre Dame, like the two, like college football, peak college football, and in the first 3 minutes, it's like 21-0 Alabama. And you're like, oh, this is just a totally different league. These guys are on a different level, and that is fairly obvious. Just thinking about with basketball, because most of mine are football for some reason. I couldn't think of a lot of basketball ones off the top of my head. But I do remember Kentucky versus Kansas in 2012, again in New Orleans, that national championship. That national championship with Anthony Davis. And again, you're thinking, yeah, this is what college basketball is all about. Kentucky, Kansas, let's go. And it was just one of those games that like nothing memorable happened. And then Kentucky was constantly winning by like 8 to 11 points or like 9 to 12 points. Like it wasn't. It was always to that point where like, is Kansas going to make a run? And then Kentucky would score 4 straight, and you're like, no, it's going to be a 9 to 12 point game the entire game. And it never got closer than that. And it was just kind of a dud. And then honestly, the two in the NFL, the two Broncos Super Bowls in the last decade, the one against the Seahawks, obviously. Was over from the first snap. It was like the Browns-Steelers game this past playoffs. First snap goes over Manning's head, safety, boom, over. So that was another one of who's going the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. Broncos, Seahawks in New York. Oh my God. Blowout. And then the Broncos Panthers in Super Bowl 50. It wasn't a blowout, but it was just like I just remember I kept waiting for it to get good. I was like, first quarter, a little rusty. That's fair. Second quarter will be better. All right, they're still feeling things out. Let's get through halftime. Let's get through Coldplay. And the second half is really, that's what the Super Bowls are made. It's the second half. That's when it's really going to turn up. All of a sudden, fourth quarter with like 4 minutes left, and then all of a sudden Cam didn't go after that fumble. I'm like, that's it, I guess. Then Peyton's kissing Papa John, before he goes and does the interview, and he drops the Bud Light or Budweiser line, and that was pretty much the only memorable thing that happened from that game. Cam Newton not getting the fumble, Peyton Manning kissing Papa John, and then the big debate afterwards of whether or not he was paid by Budweiser beforehand to drop the line in his post-game interview. That game sucked. I was just like, at least just like something make it interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like at least this past Super Bowl with the Buccaneers and the Chiefs, at least Mahomes was like doing crazy shit and like, throwing sidearm diving passes and like, Brady was just on point and like, he had the whole tie-in, I guess, of them playing at home. Like Broncos, there's nothing interesting about that game. Broncos Panthers. The uniforms are even boring. I think it's CBS games, honestly. CBS Super Bowls, I don't really like CBS Super Bowls. I was thinking about it last night, too, after the game was over. I was like, we are only the Masters weekend away from a 3 or 4 month hiatus before football season of not having to watch promos for CBS comedies, which is really good news. We got a nice little break until football season where we don't have to see about fucking whatever the guy from Mike and Molly's doing, and then more Big Bang Theory or Young Sheldon or whatever the hell it is. Didn't make it as far as I thought it would in the Elite Eight bracket last week, but it should have. The CBS comedy portion. So just let's get through the Masters this weekend, and then we can all have a nice summer off from having to hear Jim Nantz or Ian Eagle read about. You don't want to miss this upcoming episode of Young Sheldon, where he gets into more hijinks that you just won't believe on CBS, the number one powerhouse for comedy. The number one powerhouse for comedy if we're polling 65-year-olds in retirement homes who don't even know what they're watching. CBS, your home for comedy. Yeah. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Here we go. What up, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Man, good crew here. Good crew. I like it a lot. Let's see. Rams Pats Super Bowl was pretty. Yeah, God, that was again CBS. Connor, Rams Pats in Atlanta. Brady's sixth or what? I can't remember. Yeah, his sixth. 13-3. I mean, that was terrible. CBS game. Yep. Rams Patriots. Hey, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Thanks for being with me this morning. But yeah, it's don't watch big games on CBS. You're gonna be let down. I honestly, I'm trying to rack my brain right now. I mean, you have like the final. I'm talking about Super Bowls, all the football games. That always seem to be a dud, man. And I don't know if it's just because the graphics are boring or because Jim Nantz is just like the golf guy who he is also kind of boring. When it comes, but at the same time, I think maybe it's Raftery that kind of pulls it out of him. But I feel like Nance has been getting a little freaky with it in his elder age. Maybe him being with Romo and him being with Raftery, it's kind of pulling out a little bit more of the fun side of Jim Nance. I feel like when I was growing up, Jim Nance was always kind of just like very straight to the point and hello friends and but now he's raising those levels. He's raising the octave levels here a little bit every now and then. I like it. I love Bill Raftery, man. I tweeted it last night and a lot of people were like, well, what about Onions? I was like, okay, no, I know that's like, his greatest hit, right? It's like, okay, if somebody asks you what your favorite Michael Jackson song is, you don't say Thriller. Okay, because that's beyond Michael Jackson. That's just a part of the zeitgeist. It's just a part of pop culture. So when somebody asks you what's your favorite Bill Raftery saying, you don't say Onions because that's like saying Thriller for Michael Jackson. So I tweeted it last night. I remember my favorite like Raftery-ism or Bill Raftery saying. He's so good at these, man. He's just got it down to a science. But it was in 2015 when Duke was playing Wisconsin in the national championship in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil. And Justice Winslow for Duke, he was a freshman, and he was going to they were going to break, of course. And Justice Winslow did a Euro step and dunked it. And so they had the above backboard camera looking down at Justice Winslow, and he's doing his thing in slow-mo, and they're going to break. And Bill Raftery says, "It's not fair. It's justice," says Justice Winslow's like, dude, so funny. So Raftery. I'm just like, you're amazing, man. How do you come up with these things? But not only the Onions or that part, but also Raftery just constantly, woo, 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 woo. He's dropping those all the time, man. And last night when Baylor could do no wrong, right? I mean, every step back that they took, every cut that they made was just beautiful, on point. Everything was just clicking. And so you heard a lot of woo from Bill Raftery's last night. And I dug it. I dug it a lot. All right, let's get a triple shot here real quick. First pump, Paul Pierce. I talked about it yesterday. Paul Pierce out at ESPN. ESPN declined to comment, but after the video over the weekend where Paul Pierce was having the strip club at his house and he was showing ass on there and he was, smoking a little weed and drinking on Instagram Live, ESPN said, okay, nope. They must have listened to Morning Joey yesterday because they were not having it, and they got rid of him. They got rid of him quickly. But now the question becomes, is he going to be in at my employer? Is he going to be in at Barstool? Could I be coworkers with not only Deion Sanders, but Paul Pierce? I have no inside information. I'm not breaking anything here. So don't take it as that. But Paul Pierce, after the news broke, he tweeted, quote, "Big things coming soon. Stay tuned and make sure you smile," with him laughing. And then Dave, my boss, he stitched it with him doing the same exact thing, like the same exact kind of laugh. He had chains on just like Paul Pierce and sunglasses, the same exact kind of laugh. And he tweeted hashtag big things. One would then put these two together and start to say, all right, let's be on the lookout for possibly Paul Pierce joining. Again, I have no inside information. I'm not breaking anything here. I've not heard anything. I'm just doing simple math on social media. And that simple math would lead me to believe that eventually, probably sooner rather than later, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to see that Paul Pierce is now a part of this, a part of where I work, and that's Barstool Sports. That would, again, simple math. Not saying that's the case. Not breaking any news. Just from my perspective, what I saw on social media last night, how I know how things go down. From my experience with Dave, that's what it seems to be. So, ESPN's loss, possibly our gain. Again, no quoting, don't know. Riley's shaking the table over here. She doesn't care that I'm doing a live show. Happy's being good. Riley's over here, making a fucking earthquake on the table. Works from home, and she just thinks she can do whatever she wants. So Paul Pierce out at ESPN. Of course, they declined to comment. What are they going to say, It's like I always love when people, when somebody like gets let go at a job, or they go different ways, or that person says that they don't want to work there anymore, and then the company-wide email gets sent out to everybody. Blank, as you know, blank is no longer with us. We wish them all the best in their future endeavors. If you have any questions, please direct them to HR or the manager or whatever. Imagine a company-wide email going out at ESPN. As most of you probably saw, Paul Pierce is no longer with us due to the ass shaking that was going on his Instagram Live. We wish him all the best in his future endeavors, and may more asses be shook in his next place of employment. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out at HR. Oh, man. Let's see what you guys get me. Yeah. Going back to Raftery. Baylor coming out. Well, that's legendary. That's legendary there. Mainframe says Paul Pierce legit stunk as an analyst. I don't think he should have been fired for that stuff, though. Yeah, again, for those guys, it's a bad look that they don't like to have on their watch of an employer, somebody tied to them with asses and strippers in their shots and drugs and alcohol and everything like that. So, Superman 1251, Pierce plus Trista on this league. I don't know. Again, I don't have any inside information. I got to clarify that. Just doing simple math, folks. Just doing simple math. Oh, man. Okay, so today's April 6th, 2021. 27 years ago today, April 6th, 1994, we had one of the all-times, the infamous infamous Three Amigos. We had the infamous Jim and Chris Everett scene with Jim Rome. 27 years. Wow. So it's the same age as I am. Let me get this pulled up. That's not what I wanted. Damn it. Here we go. I'll just pull it up here. Jim Everett. That's the first thing. You type Jim E, and that's the first thing is Jim Everett and Jim Rome.
He is now playing for the
shit. All right, here we go. All right, Chris. Here we go. All right.
For that team that he lit up. I'm talking about the new New Orleans Saints quarterback, Jim Everett. There's the game winner right there. All right, that was then, and this is now. He's now a member of the Saints. Jim, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here, Jim. Thank you.
Check that. Chris Everett, good to have you on the show.
You know what? You've been calling me that for about the last 5 years.
About 2 years, actually, Chris.
Well, hey, you know what? Let me say one thing. In that game, how many sacks did I have that we came back and won?
How many sacks did you have?
How many sacks?
Let's see, but this was back in 1989. You may have even been Jim Everett back there, but somewhere along the way, Jim, you ceased being Jim and you became Chris.
Well, let me tell you a little secret. That, we're sitting here right now, and if you guys want to take a station break, you can. But if you call me Chris Everett to my face one more time,
I already did it twice.
You call it one more time, we better take a station break.
Well, it's a 5-minute segment, or 5-segment show. We got a long way to go.
Well, we do.
We got a long way to go.
We do.
I'll get a couple segments out of
Well,
you.
it's good to be here with you, though.
Well, it's good to see you,
because
too.
you've been talking like this behind my back for a long time.
But now I said it right here.
Right, exactly.
Well, we got no problem with that.
I think that you probably won't say it again.
I bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
I mean, can you imagine if something like this would go down now? I know yesterday, I had all the stuff with Rappaport on whatever that stupid fucking show is with Skip Bayless, but something like this now, the memes and the GIFs and the TikToks and the conspiracies that would come out if something like this happened today, if Drew Brees went on Colin Cowherd's show and Cowherd was, calling him a name that he didn't like, and he just went and fucking dove over the table and got to Cowherd. I mean, it'd be great for me. I would love that. I am kind of rooting for that. But this is 1994, so happy Jim Everett, Chris Everett, Jim Rome Day.
Now a member of the Saints. Jim, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here, Jim. Thank you.
Check that. Chris Everett.
He hits the check that so hard.
Member of the Saints. Jim, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here, Jim. Thank you.
Check that. Chris Everett. Good to have you on the show.
Check that.
Oh, you know what? You've been calling me that for about the last 5 years.
So you know that Jim Everett agreed to do this show, and his PR person or his agent or whoever was like, "Hey, would you want to do Jim Rome's show?" And Jim was like, Everett, I'll call him Everett. Everett was like, I know that Rome has said some shit about me and he does the whole Chris thing. I don't really know if I should. And his agent was like, no, come on. It could be good. Like, it could be fun and you guys can squash your shit and it'd be good for you, like some good pub. Everett's still kind of like, he didn't want to do it. You just know that he didn't really want to do it because he didn't really want to do it because of the way that right here, he immediately snaps into fuck you, Jim Rome.
Good to be here, Jim. Thank you.
Check that. Chris Everett. Good to have you on the show.
You know what?
He knew that some bullshit like that was coming from little Jim Rome. And as soon as it did, right there when he says, you know what? He's thinking, 1, fuck this guy. 2, fuck my agent who talked me into coming on this bullshit show. And now this guy is calling me Chris. And I knew he's going to call me Chris. And I'm pissed off about it.
You've been calling me that for about the last 5 years.
About 2 years, actually, Chris.
Well,
Jim Rome is so the guy at the lunch table in high school that is just a smart ass, and you want to do this exactly too. You know, you want to do the exact same thing. There's always a smart ass guy that messes with like the jocks in high school or in college, mostly high school. And it's the little smart ass dweeby guy who couldn't play football or basketball or whatever it is. But again, he's got like the little man syndrome. And so he's a weasel, and he knows that he can't physically mess with you. So mentally he's got to mess with you. Seen it too many times, seen it, plenty of times where I went to school. And that's exactly what Jim Rome is. And he did it to Jim here, and Everett fell for it.
Hey, you know what? Let me say one thing.
Because when he did, that's the kind of guy Jim Rome is when he did the second one.
You've been calling me that for about the last 5 years.
About 2 years, actually, Chris. Well,
he could have just said about 2 years, actually. But the fact that he doubled down with about 2 years, actually, Chris. Jabs. Little jabs, man. Body jabs. That's what those little guys do. That's what those dweeby guys do. Mental game.
Hey, you know what? Let me say one thing. In that game, how many sacks did I have that we came back and won?
how many sacks did you have?
That game. How many sacks?
Let's see, but this was back in 1989. You may have even been Jim Everett back there, but somewhere along the way, Jim, you ceased being Jim and you became Chris.
Well, let me tell you a little secret. That, we're sitting here right now, and if you guys want to take a station break, you can. But if you call me Chris Everett to my...
I love the graphic right here, Jim Everett. Don't call me Chris, okay? It doesn't say Rams quarterback. It says, don't call me Chris, okay?
Face one more time.
I already did it twice.
You call it one more time. We better take a station break.
Well, it's a 5-minute segment, or 5-segment show. We got a long way to go.
Well, we do.
We got a long way to go.
We do.
I'll get a couple segments out of you.
You can just, when you're like at a bar or you're at a house party and there's a guy that you don't really like and he's just being a complete, he's just being a complete dickhead putz to you, And that it's bullshit what he's giving you, and he knows that it's bullshit what you're giving back, and the tension is there, and everybody that's around you is kind of like, they're kind of looking around, they're like, okay, are we catchphrase? Are we doing catchphrase? Like they're trying to change the subject immediately because this back and forth that you got going on of little fake laughs. Like, yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. No, come over sometime. Yeah. We should get on the course sometime. Oh yeah. No, I'll show you a thing or two. It'd be great. All right. Anybody need a refill? Catchphrase?
Good to be here with you, though.
Well, it's good to see you too.
Good to see you too, man. Oh my God.
I didn't like this behind my back for a long time.
But now I said it right here.
Right. Exactly.
Well,
it is so that at a house party, man. Oh my God. That guy that you just hate. I said it right here. It's a 5-minute segment in a 5-segment show.
But now I said it right here.
Right. Exactly.
Well, we got no problem.
Well, I think that you probably won't say it again.
I bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
Dude, look how little he is right here. Look at this.
Bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
I think that you probably won't say it again.
I bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
Good for Jim Rome, I guess, for just being like, look, I know I'm going to get my ass beat. But he probably honestly legitimately, Jesus, how many fucking things? Probably honestly legitimately. Just say it. He didn't think that Jim Everett was actually going to do this. So he's, for ratings, he's being the smart ass fucking Jim Rome. I bet I do, Chris.
I bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
What is he going to do, man? This right here, I want this framed. Jim Everett, Purdue guy. Shout out. People forget about that. Jim Everett's Purdue guy. Purdue quarterback, just absolutely taking it to Jim Rome here. And there's no Jim Rome. Look, he looks like your little fucking brother. He's got his feet off the ground. They're dangling. He's like the little dweeb in high school or in middle school that you traditionally, in TV shows, you put him up against the locker and his feet are like this. His face too, man. He's like, "Ugh, don't come after me. Ugh."
Hey, just kidding, man. Just kidding.
Yeah, I hate the ending where they like try to dub over the Jim Everett or the Jim Brown talk. 27 years though. Wow. 27 years. Happy anniversary to that. Stop sharing the screen there. I bet I do. Chris. What the second one? What do you say in the second one again? I gotta pull it up again. Fuck.
Now he's now a member of the Saints. Jim, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here, Jim. Thank you.
Check that. Chris Everett, good to have you on the show.
You know what? You've been calling me that for about the last 5 years.
About 2 years, actually, Chris.
Well,
About 2 years, actually, Chris. Oh, man, that's so good. There it is, Superman. Thank you. About 2 years, actually, Chris. Okay. Happy 27 years of that. So I tweeted on, I think it was Sunday. I think it was Easter Sunday. I tweeted, 10:45 is brunch. 12:30 is just lunch. That's it. And of course, this was met with both good and bad feedback, agreement, disagreement, per usual stuff online. And I get a message from my dear friend Kayce Smith, and she's like, "You are wrong, sir. This is absolutely 100% wrong." And I said, "Okay, let's make this into something then. Come on my show and debate me. Debate me about brunch." She says, "Give me a time and a place." I say, "Cool." I wanted a moderator for it. I didn't want to just have a back and forth. So I texted our other buddy, Feitelberg, John, and why did I just introduce him like it's a? Why don't I just introduce him like the ID, like the caller ID, when like your rich friend, the rich friend that you'd go to, they'd have the caller ID that like the phone would ring and it'd be like, "Call from Davis James, call from Molinaro Joseph." But Feitelberg and moderating. I'm like, this is good. But then now that I look back at it, I'm like, well, fuck, they're in cahoots because Kayce and John are always, they're palling around New York City, doing whatever, having brunch with everybody and all their friends, all their cool friends out there. And so obviously they're going to be on the same page. But I was like, this would be good. Have him moderate a little bit. I can trust John to at least have some views of both sides. So I tweeted that. Kayce is obviously on the other side. Let's get into it. The great brunch debate of 2021 with Kayce Smith, myself, and the moderator, John Feitelberg.
Right. For this segment, I am the judge. I am the decider. We are debating brunch hours. When is it still called brunch? When is it something entirely different? We got Kayce Smith, brunch extraordinaire at Extreme Lush. We got Joey Molinaro. I think he likes himself a couple cocktails myself as well, is what I meant to say. I'm the judge. Go.
First of all, Joey, I don't know why you let him judge this because he is absolutely going to be on my side. But I know you're a gentleman, so you usually would let ladies go first. I am going to let you go first. I'm going to defer to you. I'm going to let you argue first so I can body bag you when you're done.
Okay, she's very excited about this, and you're right. I picked the bad guy because you and Feitelberg have your connection, at the factory, anything like that. You're living over there, you're getting your drinks, yada, yada, yada. But it's pretty simple, okay? When you have a brunch and you schedule it, you say, hey, let's get brunch. You started at 10:30 a.m., you started at 10:45 a.m., because then it's right in between where a breakfast would take place and the lunch hour, hence meaning brunch. You put them in the middle. You keep them together, and then you can have your drinks. You could, or you can start with a drink. You could, get to your food at 11 a.m. and then you can have lunch, or you could order right off the bat, and you could get breakfast with your drinks. Therefore, it is brunch. But once you say, "Hey, let's have a brunch. Let's get it at 12:30." That's just lunch. There is no longer room for breakfast food on the table at a 12:30 brunch. Therefore, it is lunch.
Sir, first of all, you're wrong. Second of all, I will give you this. I will concede. The actual word brunch does imply that it is between breakfast and lunch. However, it has now become a phenomenon, a social phenomenon, where what you do is you go to brunch and you get really drunk on mimosas, on Bloody Marys, on champagne, whatever you want. So yes, if you're saying let's go get brunch on a Tuesday and it's at 12:45 and you have to go back to work, that's not brunch, that's lunch. On a Saturday, I'm probably not even going to wake up until 11 or 11:30 because I've gone out the night before, and I'm still going to wake up craving some pancakes, some breakfast burritos. And guess what I want to do? Get drunk again. That's why restaurants have their brunch until 4 p.m. Tell me why a bottomless brunch in New York would be open until 4 p.m. if it's considered lunch.
That's not the part of the social part is not part of the debate.
Yes, it is. That's the whole reason.
Meal and the drinks completely. If it's at 12:30, if it's at 1 o'clock, you can still have drinks. But why can we not just call it lunch? It's lunch.
It's a brunch menu, because if I can order chocolate chip pancakes at 3 o'clock with my mimosa, I'm still eating breakfast and it's still brunch.
So what do you call it? Let's say somebody gets, hey, let's get a late lunch, and it's at 4 o'clock or 4:15.
What day, Joe?
Is it no longer than dinner?
It depends, because it's kind of like an early dinner. It depends on what day it is. Now, like, it's like, okay, some happy hours are earlier on different days. Happy hours on Fridays last a little bit longer because days have different rules. Saturdays and Sundays have different rules for eating breakfast and lunch. On Saturdays and Sundays, you can eat brunch whenever the fuck you want. In New York, it's up until 4. I can make a brunch reservation at 3:45 if I want and drink mimosas until 6. If that's my first meal of the day, that's my first meal of the day.
That's completely asinine. The
It's
hours of the meals go as follows: 5 a.m. until 11 a.m. breakfast.
not if you don't get up.
11 a.m. until 4 p.m. lunch. 4 p.m. and after is dinner.
No, it depends on what time you get up. Here's another example. And I understand brunch is not a holiday because, yes, it is every Saturday and Sunday. But it's like when you have Thanksgiving dinner. I eat Thanksgiving dinner at 3. Do I normally eat dinner at 3? No, but I eat Thanksgiving dinner at 3.
Those are asterisks.
Different meals on different days, Joey. On Saturday and Sunday. If you think I'm getting up at 5 a.m. on a Saturday to eat my chocolate chip pancakes, you're fucking crazy. I'm staying out until 4 a.m. So my first breakfast is usually at 1.
Well, if that's the case, then you're violating COVID laws right now. So that's a problem on you, and you're bringing us all down. That's probably why the office is shut down right now. Because Kayce Smith's out wandering around the city of New York until 4 a.m.
Don't you twist around. Let's not twist it like a bop it right now. You know that I just body bagged you on this. You know it, because this is the thing. Brunch has become, now again, I will concede the word brunch is between breakfast and lunch, but that's evolved into an actual plan. When you make brunch plans, you're not going to just eat a meal. You're going to have an entire day worth of things.
I would like to hear from the moderator. Can we hear some words from the moderator?
Kayce, you're right there. Just walk through the door and make the perfect analogy that it's like literally versus figuratively. At one point, that's what the word meant.
That's what I said.
It has changed, and now the word has been redefined, and brunch now means whenever the sun is up and you're eating and drinking outside.
This is what I said.
Outside,
I didn't use the word figuratively and literally, but yes, the word is different than what it actually means. It has evolved into an event. And the event, when I go on Saturday morning to Factory 380 and get my Justin Bieber breakfast burrito at 1 p.m. with my mimosas, it is brunch. It says brunch menu. I'm eating bottomless brunch, and I can do that until the menu changes at 4, and then I've got to order a fucking hamburger.
Why can it not just be lunch, though, is my question. I just am failing to understand why it's like, okay, I get that if you start the brunch at 10:40, 10:45, hell, I'll even give you 11 a.m. on a Saturday, Kayce. If you start at 11, hey, let's meet at Factory 380 at 11 a.m. for brunch. Okay, that's fair. But if it's at 12:30, if it's at 1 o'clock, that is no longer brunch. That is just lunch.
Yes,
1 o'clock is prime brunch time.
Prime.
You know what this is? You know what we're getting here? This is some married people shit, Joey Molinaro. Making plans to get up at 10 a.m. on a Saturday is some fucking married people shit.
This is where the argument is going to just be completely different for me and you, Joey, because the idea that I would go to Factory 380, and I don't even think they open at 11 on Saturdays. I don't think their brunch menu starts until 12 on Saturdays because no one's awake then. Everyone's like, you know what? Hungover from the night before. Even if I'm not, I want to go, and to even further it, they want to do early football games still as brunch. So you're trying to tell me that a 1 o'clock kick for an NFL game on a Sunday, you can't have your brunch? Of course you can.
Okay. Everybody likes a good, pancakes and bacon for dinner, right?
Breakfast for dinner.
You're just dinner. You're just having dinner.
No, it's breakfast for dinner.
Can we hear from the moderator on this matter?
That's one. What was the meal you put out?
I know. I'm just saying, like, if for one night you're like, oh, I'll just have some cereal, or I have pancakes and fucking bacon, or whatever it is for dinner. You don't call it dinner. You don't call it Brinner. You don't call it just dinner.
You call it breakfast for dinner.
You call it breakfast for dinner, and Joey, to further, you don't have.
And by the way, a garbage meal. A garbage.
No, that's not true, John. That's not true. But you don't call it like they're not serving dinner at restaurants because brunch is the thing that starts the day off. It's like, okay, are we going to go get day drunk? You're going to start with brunch. Does your day start at 11? Does your day start at 1? They're not like, oh, well, we're going to worry about dinner tonight because everyone's going to be too drunk by the end of it. You only go to brunch to drink brunch drinks. If you just want to eat breakfast, go to a diner, get your food, and then go eat lunch and drink. If you're going to a brunch, you are going for the drinking and the social aspect, which is why it can be later than 11 a.m.
But again, at the very core of this argument, you're saying that the defining part of it is that you're having drinks during the day that's later than breakfast, i.e. you're explaining lunch. You can have lunch
unless you're eating breakfast. That's why these places have bottomless brunch. Now they're usually 2 hours long because they know if you show up at 2, you can drink till 4. If you show up at 11, you can drink till 1. So here's my question, Joey. If it ends at 11, what if you make brunch plans at 11, but at 1, you're still drinking mimosas and eating your pancakes? Did you switch to lunch in the middle of it?
I told you. I gave you 11. If you said we're having brunch at 11, I'll even give you 11 a.m. That's fair. Once the clock strikes noon, that is lunch hour.
Joey, here's the problem. What you're doing here is you're sticking too much to definitions.
Right.
And definitions, much like bisexuality, are fluid. It depends on the moment. I gotta just feel it. I see a picture of Ryan Reynolds. Guess who's gay for a few minutes? If I'm fucking drinking on a Saturday afternoon, guess who's at brunch?
Me and John, and so would you, Joey. And I guarantee you next time you come in town, we'll ask Scotty at Factory. He will tell you that if you're enjoying a nice Bloody Mary at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you've got some bacon on your plate, you're having bottomless brunch at the Factory 380 in New York City, baby.
You guys will do that. You'll go at noon or whatever. I will come at 12:30 and I will say, I hope your guys' brunch was great. I am now joining you for lunch.
Now, here's the deal, Joey. I'm actually not much of a breakfast eater, so no matter what time I go to brunch, I'm ordering lunch. But brunch is a feeling. Brunch is an idea.
Brunch is
not
an
a
idea.
hard definition.
Brunch is an event. Brunch is a cultural phenomenon. You're going to brunch with your friends. And yes, John doesn't order breakfast food, but he's still at brunch because that's what everyone else in the entire city is doing. You're eating brunch on a Saturday and Sunday. Not on a Monday, not on a Tuesday, you're eating lunch. But on Saturdays and Sundays, brunch have different rules.
It's also, Joey, I gotta give you credit here. This is like getting in the ring with Tyson, debating Kayce on fucking drinking times. Like you really picked a hell of an opponent.
And by the way,
moderator too. You guys are in cahoots. I know it.
I mean, because we first of all, again, the idea that either one of us would be at a breakfast place at 10 a.m. on a Saturday or Sunday is just crazy. But also, like, the way this came about was because I just DM'd him to his ridiculous take about how if you're eating brunch at 12:45 it's lunch. I was like, no. He was like, all right, debate me. I was like, let's fucking go, dude. You're walking into my arena now.
Again, it's all comes down to the scheduling of the event. All right. So I hear what you're saying, but when somebody says, let's get brunch at 12:45, I say, are we talking about, Waffle House fucking at 12:45 a.m. or what the hell is the deal? So
brunch is not Waffle House.
What are these? What are these?
Bottomless brunch is a thing for a reason.
The main dish of brunch is alcohol.
Right. bottomless brunch.
So
That's
if
why
you don't
they
serve
say-
alcohol, you can't have brunch.
right.
Have we got in on the merchandise? You know, I know, John, you're big on the fucking Saturdays are for the boys. Do we have the brunch stuff? Is the brunch up? Have we had that? Saturdays are for the brunch. Sundays are for the brunch. I mean, what the
I
fuck?
don't think so.
We need it.
Christ, Kayce just said it right there. I was like, well, that sounds like a T-shirt if I've ever heard one.
I mean, it's different rules on different days, just like holidays have different eating rules. But John is right. That's the reason that these restaurants say, okay, you pay $30, you get unlimited alcohol and like one entree that probably costs them $5 to make. They're not worried about the pancakes, the bacon, or the sausage. They're worried about how much champagne you're going to drink and how much vodka you're going to drink.
All right. This is my show. You guys are both pissing me off with your takes. So I know who Feitelberg is going to give it to. So don't even-
Kayce Smith. And look, this never happens. I never rule in favor of Kayce.
Never, ever take my side, ever, Joe.
Smith wins.
He says that he smacks the gavel of the microphone. He says she wins. Whatever. Fuck it. We'll put it to a vote. All right. No, we did not drink for that. That was like last night at like 5 o'clock. So surprised. I don't know. Actually, I can't speak for Kayce or John, but I was not. So I don't know, man. Kayce Smith is the wrong one to debate for that. I mean, I'm glad I did, but like, you know, I mean, she's fucking brunch queen, you know, she's like Instagram fucking boomerang. Like she lives for that. Like that's just her, that's her brand with the skinny mimosa glass and the, you know, fucking boomerang right there. So that's not really looking back. I shouldn't have gone that route, but I still stand firm in my belief that if you invite me to something and it's 12:45 or 1 o'clock, it's not brunch. It's just lunch. You know, if you're like, hey, it's like a 10:45, 11, you know, you can sleep in a little bit, but we can get there to where you can still feel good about eating some biscuits and gravy with some booze. That's fine. Then I'm good with that being called brunch. But like if a friend is like, hey, come over to my place and 1 o'clock, yeah, we're going to have some brunch. No, I will be joining you for lunch. I will still have some drinks because you can still drink at lunch. I don't know why brunch has the monopoly on alcohol, but you can, I don't know if you guys know that, but you can still drink at lunch. You can still drink at dinner too. So this whole idea that brunch is you extend brunch and you put brunch into the 1 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock hour, because if you're drinking, then that's brunch. That's completely asinine. You go to lunch, you have some beers, still drinking, still not eating sausage, biscuits, and gravy. So, I don't know. What if you order off the brunch menu? See, but that's where I think the brunch menu, I think that if, again, like I said in the debate, if you make the plans for 11 o'clock, all right, 11 a.m., you get there at 11 a.m., you can still order that. But if you sit down at like 12:30 or 1, you can't order brunch stuff. You can still order the booze, but it's lunch hour then. It's lunch hour, all right? So if it's 11 o'clock, 10:45, hell, even I'll give you 11:15. Just anything pre-noon. Once post-noon happens, the brunch stuff is off the menu. We're moving on to lunch. And just call it lunch. It's what it is. When do you take your lunch break at work? Noon. It's the lunch hour. Anyways, I appreciate Kayce and Feitelberg coming on and spending some time doing that. That was fun. Be sure to get your Cup of Joey mugs, your Cup of Joey dad hats, this sick One Last Ride Juju and Big Ben shirt. Look at that. Available. All of those are available. Links below on YouTube, Barstool Sports Store. Appreciate you guys waking up with me. I hope that, again, you didn't get too tired out by that game last night because it was an absolute snooze fest. So, yeah, Jacob makes a good point. Sounds like an NYC thing. Yeah, people try to make it a thing here in Indy, but I'm not buying it. It's just lunch or it's just brunch. So get your merch, subscribe below on YouTube. We're live every morning, 9 to 10 a.m. Tomorrow, I got Chicago Cubs center fielder Ian Happ joining the program. I'll get Coach Doug's back on for some coffee break as well. So looking forward to that. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning, live at 9.